It is Tuesday night, and that means another Sick Podcast Anvil show. And honestly, I don't know how this one's going to go. It's a lot of emotions probably going to run wild this show, talking about what happened on Sunday at the game and then just other little nuances that are happening within the organization. But I don't want to start it that way. So let's fire this thing up. Sammy, start me up.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. And Bill Show.
Intercepted! Marlon Jackson! Marlon's got it! We're going to the Super Bowl! We're going to the Super Bowl! Marlon Jackson with the interception! He picked off Tom Brady!
The sickest Indianapolis Colts podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be sick. But first, a word from our sponsor. Grab some TDs with DraftKings Sportsbook. They're on sale from Thanksgiving through Cyber Monday. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code SICKSPORTS. That's SICKSPORTS to opt in. That's code SICKSPORTS. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball.
And let's sound the anvil. That is the sound of the anvil, and that means that your Sick Podcast Anvil show is officially started. Welcome to the show. How you doing tonight, CJ?
I'm doing okay. It's been 48 hours since whatever you want to call that was on Sunday. So you know what? I'm feeling all right. I'm feeling all right. And not only that, but I can smell the mac and cheese and yams right now.
Well, that is a blessing, yes, because we are only hours away now from Thanksgiving. So that is a good way to forget about what happened on Sunday. As you see, it is only myself and Chris tonight. Perhaps the DEI hire needed a day off. We will discuss that next time we see him. We do not play that. But anywho. Anyway, let's just get to the grit, man. I got bones to pick. Yes, we got things to talk about with certain clips and this and that, but we'll get there. Listen, accountability has to happen in the entirety of a football game. So normally we're just talking about our team or we're talking about a certain player or whatever. There's no point of having officials on the fucking field if they're not going to do their job properly. Now, am I going to blame the entirety of the loss on the officials? I will not. But we had 8 penalties on offense that amounted for about, 175 yards. Also, would lead to a very unproductive completion percentage if you're looking at it for Anthony Richardson, because all of his big plays basically came off the field. And every time we seemingly did something positive, we had to kind of check over our shoulder to see if there was something wrong, and lo and behold, there was. But my issue became, as you watch the game, and I'm not going to, call a cheap shot and say, okay, well, they're going off the script, and the script says this year it's Kansas City and Detroit. I don't know what the script says, if there's a script, but what I'm saying is, if you're going to blatantly, continuously throw flags for holding on one team, that would then open my eyes to say that, oh, okay, well, holding's being called today. Let's ensure that that's being called across the board. Yeah. Lo and behold, there's so many plays that you can find on the Detroit side of the ball when they have the ball that is not an holding call when it should have been a flagrant holding call.
Yeah.
Prime example. Look at Jahmyr Gibbs's touchdown.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous. Let's go to some sweet plays where Kenny's out there on the edge. Absolutely ridiculous. Let's look at every time Latu got past somebody. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
For nothing to be called there. I'm sick of this shit, man. So again, I'm watching the game. My best friend's here. You know, he's chuckling and all this, ha ha ha. So we're flipping through the channels. He's like, okay, wait, this shit is actually pretty ongoing in all of the games. What's the point of New York, Chris? I'll start the show. What the fuck is the point of New York? What are they there for?
New York is there as a means to basically give the optics that these games are like there's something that if it's not called, that we're basically sitting there watching and saying, what's going on with that? And then they're just going to say, well, you know, in some cases, you know, the play, this could happen and whatever. Basically, New York is there for commentary damage control. Because the thing is, they're going to say a lot of things. They're going to use a lot of terms that, even though, you know, passionate football fans want to believe that they know stuff, there's a lot of terminology they're not familiar with.
Fair.
And so they're going to go and they're going to make sure they use that terminology, because they're just like, well, I don't know what that means, but I guess it sounds legit. And it's not. It's not legit in the slightest. It's basically them trying to make sure they're covering their butts. So I mean, it is what it is. Like New York is there because the NFL probably just needed to spend an extra $150,000 on something. So just like, hey, we should set this up and make it look like these people actually do something.
And so here's my thing with that too, man, because if you're actually keying in on some of these decisions, if you will, New York has absolutely been in disagreement several times, and it seemed like all the time on Sunday with what was being called on the field. So here's my idea, New York. And I know you have to preserve. That's probably the best word. So you're trying to preserve the integrity of the official on the field. But you know what? I feel like there's need to be a way to buzz in. That's wrong. Fix it. Hey, no, that's an egregious holding. Fix it. I mean, if we can radio in, you know, fucking signals from the OC and the HC to the quarterback, or from the DC to the linebacker, that is the mic, or you know, the leader on the linebacker core, I feel like New York can absolutely radio in to one of the Hockleys.
Yeah,
that's wrong. That's a fucking hold. We're watching it. Call it. Even if you didn't see it, call it. I saw it. Do something. Like, make the game more. Take all of the. I don't want to say all of it. That's impossible. Make it less about human error. Because too many times teams have gotten an apology on a Monday morning or a Friday if you played on Thursday. Hey, oops, yeah, that was a wrong call. Who gives a shit now? Because it's an
yeah, because we don't want the, hey, you guys, my bad. That shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
Why are you telling me this on a Monday morning? Like, it was clearly obvious when it happened. And you know, but the thing is, I think we knew that was going to happen when the old guard went out, like the Ed Hockley's, you know, the guys who are like 16 to 20 years in. And we knew that it was going to end up being where it's just like, all right, we know that this is probably not going to go our way.
So,
and that's what it is. Like, that's what it is. What's going on, Rick?
It's a young Hockley in the game now. Is that a son?
Yeah, that's his son.
Yeah, he fucking sucks. Anyway, let me move away from that because the anger was so
seething.
Right. Man, listen. Okay, so let's just hone in and focus on the game itself. Okay. Chris, 24-6 was the score. And in all fairness, a lot of people can say that could swing a lot of ways. I don't like the people say, oh, well, I feel like Detroit took it easy on us. Nobody takes it easy on anybody. 24-6 is the score because that's what the score was going to be that day.
Yeah.
Nobody let off the gas. Okay. But I will say, and I hope to not contradict myself here, our side of the ball or our side of the score, if you will, does not really reflect how that game went. I mean, we go down back-to-back drives, and it should have been 14 points. Then the penalties kick in, and we started moving backwards and going the other way. We get Ogletree to drop a wide open. Look at my hands. They're supposed to catch. They go right through.
Yeah.
We had a bunch of shit.
Get your stupid ass.
So let's just do this. Is there anything positive to pull out of this game?
Yes.
All right, here we go. There you go. Sounds like you're excited about it. Let's do it.
Yes. The most positive thing about this game was the fact that we saw AR being able to go up against what you're going to consider a top defense in the league.
Top team.
And
Shit,
he
wow.
wasn't the issue on this day. Now the thing is, like I said, he did have a couple passes where you're just like, yeah, like that's not a good one. But the problem is that he had passes either went to tight ends. And the thing is, we can speak as objectively as possible. Drew Ogletree was awful. He's by himself. He catches that ball, it's a touchdown. But then also you have plays where Kylan Granson literally goes between two defenders and he's by himself and he absolutely smokes a wide open tight end. Or he smokes a wide open catch that potentially is going to go for at least another 10 to 15.
Because he's not looking. It's a hot read. They bring in everybody. You're on a seam route all by yourself. You're supposed to whip your head around almost immediately. He's running a regular route.
And we saw this. And the crazy thing is we saw this in the offseason because we saw that Granson did almost the exact same thing, not necessarily on the same route, but he did almost the exact same thing in the preseason game versus the Bengals, where AR literally threw to that spot where he was supposed to be. He wasn't, and then but the great part about it is that we knew like AR was basically under duress all game. Mm-hmm. And we can say, oh, well, AR, he had a 42% completion percentage. But the crazy thing about it is that AR is basically making sure that he's getting the ball out and that he's getting the ball out to receivers. Mm-hmm. And for me, I'm just like, okay, well, you know what? If you want him to stat pad, let's just go ahead and just make sure that instead of him just going and throwing away and being afraid of an incompletion, he's just taking a sack just to make sure that he gets a completion percentage that's going to be over 50%. Because at the end of the day, like, do we want him to go and just take the sack and lose yards, or do we want it to be an incompletion and then he comes back with the same yardage and then he lives to see another day for another opportunity?
See, and here's where I am with that, because that's a hard question. Be it that he's been so deliberately destroyed for completion percentage and QBR and everything else. Like, I hate to say it, but these last games, I'm almost watching since his return. Like, no, I need him to complete everything. I don't care if it's a 2-yard dump pass to or a 2-yard negative dump pass to, JT because he got tackled. I don't care. I need it to look like a completion because when it's not, those freaking haters can't wait to say, well, look, you went from 20 or 30, to now you're 11 for 28, and it looks the same. I'm like, are you watching a football game? Because there's clearly 4 to 5, just no shit. Hey, those are throwaways. I threw them shits, airmailed them purposely into the 5th row because it's a throwaway.
Yeah.
And then, don't even count the drops or the miscues or Austin Doolin. I don't know that I got 2 feet. I'm not playing in college anymore. Let's get 2 of those puppies in for a 35, 40-yard gain. Let's do that because that matters. No, that's what receivers do in the NFL, right? Wrong. Okay, did he miss? I would say he missed, and he missed AP early.
Yeah.
But what you can't see in that play, well, you probably can, but you refuse to see if you're going to debate me, is does he have the ability to step up? Absolutely not. Tanner Bortolini is in his helmet as he's throwing the football.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, there is no mechanical, go through at that point. You're literally just like, this is all arm strength. I'm heaving it out there because I can't step. I can't get my feet right. I can't get touch and rhythm right, because when he could get touch and rhythm right, where was the ball?
Yeah, it was there. And mind you, Dalton Tucker was a turnstile.
Bruh.
Dalton Tucker, that man got sat on his butt repeatedly. And that's like, and so the thing is, it's crazy because let's look at the last 2 games. Let's look at the last 2 games ever since the benching, all the drama went down. AR's 31 for 58, which means that he's over 50%. Mm-hmm. He's at, I think that brings him to about like 52, 53%. He's got a passing touchdown, 0 interceptions.
Facts.
2 rushing touchdowns.
Facts.
And no turnovers. He had 2 fumbles, both of which he recovered himself.
Facts.
So right now, if we're looking at AR in these last 2 games, and mind you, the Lions, I'm going to say, are probably the most complete defense that he's played. But then if we're looking at the Jets, he's played 2 top 5 secondaries in the last 2 weeks.
Right.
So you mean to tell me that in those last 2 weeks, we've seen him be able to perform not just at a high level, but we've seen him be able to go ahead and respond when you've had less than stellar offensive line play. Yeah. Like, you don't have Bernard Ryman, Braden Smith. I mean, you don't have
Quentin Richardson. Not Quentin Richardson. Where's Quentin Nelson? Quentin Nelson was eating dirt all day.
It's so the thing, and this has always been my thing, right? Because we know the talent that Quentin Nelson has. The problem that you have with somebody like Quentin Nelson, because Quentin Nelson, there's always a direct correlation to the guys that you have on the side of you. So, for example, if you know for a fact that you have a direct threat that's going to be in the middle, generally the center and the left guard or right guard, wherever side you designate, are going to be able to communicate and kind of work in unison. Or you end up going and having whoever you have on the outside, and then you'll be able to work together that way. The problem is that you have a rookie in the middle and you have a rookie on the left. So the thing is, at this point, you're almost having to overcompensate. And meanwhile, Quentin Nelson is over here fighting for his life, trying to make sure that these guys don't get absolutely demolished. And meanwhile, you have Dalton Tucker over there screaming, "Help, Miguel, help." Like, it's just like he's over there trying to figure out what life is at that point.
Yeah, well, you're not lying there. And I mean, and I've said it since he's been playing. I'm like, he's either in the way. There's been weeks where Jonathan Taylor's literally trying to like move him out of his way. Or like you said, it's just an open door policy. Like, come in and see the manager anytime you want. Like, let's just skip talking to supervisors and all that. We're going straight to the manager. And that's what kind of, blocking he's been doing. And so that opens the door for Glowinski. I think it's time to bring Glow in. I mean, hey, buddy, you've had all off season because you haven't played since they released you to get right and get ready. And there's no time like the present.
I mean, at this point, I mean, he's better than Dalton Tucker. And I don't even know what condition he's in. I just know that he's better than Dalton Tucker.
Yeah, that's nasty work, man. And so we're dealing with that. Now let's jump to the other side of the house because we talked about, receivers failing us. We've talked about, the tight ends failing us. The offensive line failed us. Let's still talk about 15 more missed tackles. 15 of those good things. 97% zone play. Middle of the field was more open than 7-Eleven. Most of golf's completions. Like, hey, no one's in the middle. Look at this right here. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, Clyde, you did this. Why did you do this? Because I literally just gave Gus Bradley that much last week.
Yeah, so this is your fault. This is in fact your fault.
And as soon as I gave him that much, he said, "Oh, Clyde likes me. I'm taking this much."
Yeah. Normally I'd show you grace, but no. This is all your fault.
I take it.
Like, I need you to take you take both your and you point to yourself.
There it is.
Because this is your fault. Exactly. Thank you for that. Because Gus, you don't give Gus Bradley props. Don't give that man props. Because we have this thing, and like I said, this is conditioning. This is the mental conditioning that we have to deal with being Colts fans. We have to deal with the fact that we see things be so bad that when they're not bad, we just believe they're automatically good. And the bad part about it is the fact that Gus Bradley's system is crap. It always has been. It forever will be. Like, and the thing is, we have guys like, and I think who posted it? Somebody said something about it. I can't remember who. The majority of our defense are late round picks. These guys are either late round or they're undrafted free agents.
Facts.
And the thing is, like, outside, like, if we really think about it, like, look, and mind you, this isn't knock on Tyquan Lewis because he's more so one of the more consistent guys. He just can't consistently stay on the field. But the thing is, it's just like if we're looking at this defense, Z is a late round guy.
7.
EJ Speed is a late round guy.
5 or 6.
I mean, if we're looking, Kenny undrafted, Jalen Jones 7th round.
7th round.
I mean, like Samuel Womack, he's a undrafted or he's practice squad. Like this is like this like I don't get it. I don't understand.
Christ.
Yeah, like Latu's a first round pick that we drafted. Buckner was what? I think Buckner was a first round, I believe, but we got him in a trade. Like the thing is, we on defense and
Grove's like a 4th or 5th.
You said who? Grover's. I think Grover's like a 5th or 6th.
Oh yeah, okay.
Like and this is what we're dealing with. Alubi.
Quiddy's 2. He's a 2nd rounder.
No, Quiddy was a 1. Quiddy was a 1.
Was he first round?
Yeah, he was the first round.
Oh,
Quiddy was a 1. Dale was a 2. But the thing is, even
yeah.
now, it's just like, are you bringing Quiddy back for what he's being paid for 1 year? Because he's getting paid 13.
Yeah.
The silence is deafening. Like the silence is deafening. But you know what? But like I said, but you know what? All the defensive side.
Yeah.
Zaire.
Oh, okay. And so there's the cue. Sammy, cue Zaire, please.
On a slightly lighter note, do you plan to engage with Pat McAfee on your podcast?
To be honest with you, I got a lot of respect for Pat. I understand exactly who he is to the organization, to our city. And quite frankly, I think, maybe I probably didn't handle it the right way going into it. Now he said some things about me. So, that is what it is.
I'll say, okay. So Zaire said on his podcast, pick a side. He was quite passionate when he was speaking about that. It seemed like there was a little beef. Pat fired back, talked about what wasn't in his locker room versus what is in the Colts locker room, this, that, and the other. And it has not. Well, I ain't gonna say that. We thought it was an ongoing thing, but apparently it is no longer an ongoing thing. So you brought this clip and you wanted to talk about this clip, but I don't think it's from that perspective. Tell us what you want to speak on when it comes to this clip.
I just want to say this, and you can look at the data. We can look at exactly how it is. All these players, Zaire included, Micah Parsons, CJ Stroud, who went on a podcast tour this offseason, Deebo Samuel. These guys all have something in common. EJ Speed. They stink. They literally, these guys, like, mind you, CJ went on a podcast tour. This man went to Japan with Micah Parsons. Like, this was the second coming of Survivor World Race. And neither one of them are doing it. Micah Parsons is on a 3-8 team. These guys are awful. It might be better than that. I don't know, but I know they stink. CJ Stroud, for some reason, he started off hot and now he's on a decline. And we don't know what's going on. Zaire and EJ right now is in a contract year. And if he got a dollar deducted for how many missed tackles he had, he'd have to get a big contract just to pay back what he's missed to begin with. Zaire is supposed to be a captain, and he doesn't look like a captain. Deebo Samuel stinks, and the 49ers stink. Mind you, he's supposed to be a number one. He's getting paid like a number one. But you know what? Back to the Colts. I am sick of these guys who are going on these podcasts week to week, talking all this stuff, talking everything that they're doing, and then the product that they're putting out on Sunday is nowhere close to the talk that is going on these podcasts. And for me, I was just like, let's go ahead. Let's reserve this. Let's just go ahead. Zaire Franklin is just a glorified tackler. And even then, a lot of the tackles that he's getting is assisted tackles. Because if we look at those tackles that he's getting on a year-to-year basis, generally 50% of them aren't solo tackles. He's getting tackle totals and he's getting assisted tackles because he's coming in at the very end of the play and basically playing cleanup, getting credited for half a tackle. This, like, I'm sick of this podcast stuff. Pat McAfee, he did his he had his career, he had his highlights, he did what he needed to do, and that's why he's where he's at right now. That's why he's getting paid the money that he's getting to do this. Why are you, instead of making sure that you're getting better, because you can always get better, especially in today's league, in order to be a great linebacker, in order to keep up with the Fred Taylors of the league, you have to be able to be multifaceted. You have to be able to tackle. You have to, Fred Warner. You have to be able to tackle. You have to be able to cover. You have to be able to do all these things in order to make sure that you are complete. He's not a complete linebacker. And yet we have no choice but to see him weekly on a podcast.
So, and this, okay, so here's my thing too. Now, I feel like there's levels. Now, he'll be first to tell you, like, look, they got to do better. They realize how many tackles they're missing per game. I think but the scheme cripples them, bro. They're basically playing a 4-2-5, right? Like, and that's tough in the NFL because you know what? You're not dealing with linemen that really can't move. You're not dealing with a lot of spread offenses, if you will, where it's like one read and then like boom, it's out of our hands. Come up and tackle. Like, no, you're dealing with progressions, and you're always out of place. And you're always out of place because of the scheme. And I just don't understand. So this is my thing, because it's rare that you see this unless it's pure toxicity. But at what point do you have to look at what's being called and say, hey, coach, I don't know if this is it. Like, we're playing the Detroit Lions, arguably the most explosive team out there, and we're in 97% zone. We're so basically you're saying, coach, just fall back to landmarks and let this guy dink and dunk us all the way down the field, and then at some point we're going to say, all right, this is where we need to tighten up. Like, I just don't get it. So again, you have a lot to say, you know, and I think you got a lot of points when you talk about individual play. But if you look at how we're playing, we're just out of position. We're so out of position.
So the thing is, I want to be able to say that, yes, we are out of position. But the thing is, we also have to remember that we saw how Shaq didn't benefit from the system. I'm talking about Leonard. We saw how he didn't benefit from the system. Zaire essentially was plugged in because of what he was able to do in the system. So even this year, let's just say, go back to the Packers game. There were so many times where, for somebody like Josh Jacobs, who's not the fastest guy, but he's a one-cut guy, Zaire literally on more than one occasion got stuck in a gap when Josh Jacobs bounced out, and then he was essentially taken out of a play.
Yeah.
And so the thing, for me, it's, we can talk about scheme, but then we can talk about that instinct. We can talk about how they're able to play, you're able to do that. Because the thing is, playing linebacker, yes, it's partially scheme, but it's also the anticipation. It's also understanding exactly which way this person can go, and knowing that if you look at Josh Jacobs, you know that he's a guy who can make those cuts and who's able to go ahead and get in and out. So how do you make sure that you do that? You make sure that you play sound enough to be able to go ahead and say, you know what, if he goes this way, I can, you know, basically close him off here. But if he decides to bounce out, then I know that I'll be able to have that outlet out there. The problem is that it's just like, if you're dedicated to just playing in that mode or just playing in that space, then you're essentially just going to take yourself out. That's the reason why Nick Cross was leading the league and leading the team in tackles for so long, because our linebackers were not able to get out there and really just make those plays that they needed to.
I think that's the crippling of the scheme. And then what we have to do is just crunch numbers and look at like raw data. Okay, missed tackle versus how it sets you up to miss said tackle. Because what I'm getting at is we have undersized linebackers. And yes, you're right. Z was plugged in, but that was, in my opinion, more about Shaq's injury and not having mobility like he once did. than anything else. I don't think it was just like, oh yeah, Shaq Leonard is still Shaq Leonard. So for instance, I don't think it was the Kenny situation when Kenny year one of Gus Bradley was like, I don't even know how to get on the field right now because it just don't work.
Yeah.
It wasn't that. It was like literally like, damn, Shaq can't move.
Yeah.
like he starts one way and like, oh fuck, like when I went to plant to go back the other way, like my body was like, absolutely not. So I feel like that was that. But then the point is super undersized linebackers that are getting, because they're if you really watch the games and really lock in, look how many times Z has a left guard or right guard in his face or a center. Like he doesn't get the true ability to read and react. Like that's what's happening up front. I mean, we got guys like Taven Bryant coming in to relieve Grove. Like what are we doing here? I mean, like, come on, bro. Let's just not do shit like that. Right. So what I'm getting at is then the scheme is putting you in a crippling spot because when you're already on level 2, there's nothing left but level 3, and they're at 10 yards or greater. So now where are you? You're either at 9 yards, so you're at 2nd and 1, or you at 1st and 10 again. Like that's just where we are, man. That's just where we are. And I feel like these guys, they struggle from that because when they spread them out, when Kenny's on the field, like there's no way. And I don't know how so masterfully that what is his name? The Bears coach, Eberflus. I don't know how masterfully, how he was so masterfully able to keep Kenny on the field so much.
Because he utilized Kenny in different ways. Because remember, how many times did we see just Kenny going in on a cornerback blitz?
Yeah,
Kenny had to be accounted for in more ways than one.
Facts.
As opposed to just basically just going out in coverage and then just that was it. I think this year he maybe did like a cornerback blitz once, maybe twice.
Yeah,
but
he wasn't a starter back then.
Yeah, but the thing is, but we saw exactly what it was when it came down to Gus Bradley, because Gus Bradley, we saw what he did when they came down. Like Kenny Moore wasn't in his favor, and then he didn't want Isaiah Rodgers on the field, even though Isaiah Rodgers, every time he came in, he proved why he should be on the field. So you essentially had Stephen Gilmore, Brandon Faison at 2, and then you had Kenny Moore in the nickel whenever he's supposed to have him in there. And I mean, honest, like I said, Kenny, like Brandon Faison as a number 2 when he was a Raider 6.
It's nasty work. And the wide 9 has not been it has done nothing for us. I know how he loves the wide 9, and that's like his exoticness, if you would. And this shit does not do anything for us, bro.
Yeah.
If anything, it lets a non-mobile quarterback step up in the pocket more because the guy is so far. Like, listen, we've talked about the issues there too many times ad nauseum, and frankly, it is what it is. With 5 to go, this is what we got until calendar year 2025, and we'll see what trots out next September as far as DC and players and what the scheme is and all that. So we are where we are, but I'm going to give Z some grace just because I feel like, well, on that part, if I had an issue with anything, it's perhaps maybe you did say something on your podcast that I guess it went up the channels, right? Because like I said, I feel like it's two sides to this. I feel like Pat McAfee was not giving himself credit for his actual stay inside the organization. He was like, oh, you guys act like I know what's going on in the locker room. You do. Oh, yeah. You guys act like I'm this and I'm that. You got inside sources. You do.
Yeah.
And so to me, it was toxic as hell for him to come out and speak so freely and negatively about the team, about what's going on when you have that type of influence. Because we get to see the Colts once a week. We see you 6 days a week if you count college game day. So what I'm getting at is, if we have a common goal here, and the common goal is we are in support of the team, when you come out and say, well, I've never seen that before. Well, Pat, we never seen a punter get drunk in the canal either.
Yeah. And go.
So don't talk about what you are as a player. Oh, well, he's a QB. It doesn't matter. You're a professional too.
Yeah.
So yeah, he shouldn't have maybe tapped out a single play now, came back, finished the game, and almost gave us a chance to win. or be looked at as a drunk athlete who's embarrassing the entire team and the community by apparently wading in the water, drunk and a little bit crazy. So that's, to me, it's not same because you're talking one on the field, one off the field. But I'm saying, don't point one when there's multiple pointing back.
Yeah.
So say, hey, look, the kid made a mistake. Cool. Right. And as a group, I think they need to come to his, kind of get in his face, come to his rescue, cover him in some grace, if you will, whatever they need to do. But they need to let him know that's not going to fly.
Yeah. And
keep
like
it
I
to
said,
a certain level.
Yeah. And
but they went on a tangent, man. All of them, Butler, all of his crew, AJ Hawk smoking a cigar. I'm like, bro, how many days are y'all going to do this?
Yeah.
So,
and that's why I'll also give him grace for that, because he came to defense of AR,
as he should have.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, and the thing is, I don't think it was necessarily just Pat McAfee, because like I said, he said national media.
Facts.
So, but the thing is, like, the picture that was used was Pat McAfee, so that's why that ended up being the thing.
But here's the deal, though. The one thing that's kind of very glaring is, you could say national media, and you can also look at what are the ratings for these shows. People fuck with Pat McAfee show because it is not a traditional talking head show where everything is so structured and, we got to go to commercial break and, this, that, and the other. They drop the F-bomb, they say F this and shit that and asshole this and blah, blah, blah. Like, people are engaged in that because it doesn't feel like a traditional sports show.
It's not.
So your reach is much larger, even though we're talking about ESPN, Fox Sports 1, all these mega, platforms. Dude, you're on YouTube, which then is also now associated you with ESPN. And so when we're watching this live, it's uncut, it's raw. I'd rather watch Pat McAfee show all day than watch 30 minutes of Skip and whoever.
Yeah.
Or whatever Stephen A. Smith is doing today or whatever. Because those shows are way too polished.
Yeah. They're way too PC.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's the thing. So I'm sitting there thinking, so if you are connected with the organization, like we know that you are, you shouldn't be. I don't say shouldn't. You do whatever you want. I mean, your podcast is making buku dollars. Do whatever you want. But ultimately, you can't be. My biggest thing was you can't be this guy needs to sit, bring in Flacco, blip, blip, blip. Oh, we seen that Flacco really is 39 and all that comeback player of the year shit was last year. And this is my quarterback again. Nah, man. I'm not okay with that.
Yeah.
Not on that stage, because it doesn't give me and you the right to do the same thing. Exactly. But you know what? Our voice doesn't carry like Pat McAfee.
No, absolutely not. And the thing is, people are actively seeking his voice to get his opinion on things. Big so facts. It's just it comes with a different type of scope and range.
But I like what he did, though. He said, hey, look, if they need to use me for motivation, they need to use me for fuel, use me. I mean, I get it. That's a way to, kind of save face, if you will. But then it's maybe I'm the petty one, right? Because I'm going with what Z said. Z was like, bruh, I wouldn't be in nobody's face after that. Literally, if I'm Anthony Richardson, dog, you're never going to see me again, bro.
Exactly.
Period. I don't give a shit if I win 3 straight MVPs. I don't give a shit if I win 3 straight Super Bowl titles. You're never going to see me again. And it's not about being sensitive, but it's about, this is how quick you can do this, bro. I was just on your show.
Yes. Very much.
Y'all talked about me like a dog, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and like I said, and if he turns it around, his stock is going to skyrocket. Facts. Which means that it's just especially for somebody like Pat McAfee, does he need him on show? No. But the thing is, you've now essentially removed the reach that you potentially have to be able to have him on there. So the thing is, if he ends up skyrocketing and he's looking better, and we see that it's just he's able to just carry this team the way that we all imagine that he was able to, if he's able to reach that ceiling or reach that potential, then now you're just Like you're going to have to publicly eat crow in order for him to even remotely get on a Zoom call with him. And I don't even know if he's going to do that.
And I think, and this is just my thing, bro, but I think the really good teams that have really strong, powerful locker rooms, you always got to find a way to like quiet the noise.
Yeah.
But none of them, in my opinion, and again, I can only speak for national media now. Don't know what was happening in the 80s and 90s. But I feel like the very strong teams, for instance, let's go Bill Belichick era, all the Super Bowls, all the playoff success. Let's go the entirety of that run. How many hot takes, how many whatever you want to call them came out of that locker room when somebody was being interviewed? How many interviews are memorable from a Patriots player saying something that was like outlandish or doing much more than saying, hey, I'm concentrating on the next game? What I'm getting at is that's what the entire team should have got on. If that's where I am, and I'm like, look, I know that we have to do interviews. I know we can't get away from it. I know that we have to do this, bro. We're not anything they're asking us. We're not giving them shit, because that's also what EJ and Zaire was talking about.
Yeah,
that there was just different levels. So if I can't get it from somebody wearing a C, let me go as the practice squad running back. How you feel about Anthony Rick? Like, what does that even ask? Like, who gives a shit what they feel?
Exactly. Like, sir, we don't even know if you're gonna be here in 2 weeks.
So we would have. So again, if I'm wearing a C, and maybe my captain's badge doesn't, read as loud as I might think it would have, but I'm like, hey man, we're calling a captain's only meeting first, and then we'll have a team meeting, and then we'll elevate this to coaches and whatever. But I'm like, here's where we are. Any question about Anthony, we're not answering it. So the answer is, I mean, that's something you might want to talk to the head coach about. Next question.
Yeah.
And so what you're doing is you're standing together, you're keeping everything in house, and you're not allowing anybody to start. They can start whatever rumors they want, but it's not because somebody's saying something. And we're going to focus on about football, period. And at that point, every individual on that team that has felt some kind of way, they can make their own decisions, because they know that at least my team stood behind me. And everybody now they want to be like, oh, they want to put a mic in my face now because, like you said, I'm playing better. Mm-hmm. Hey, man, I appreciate y'all. I wouldn't be able to do this without the man upstairs. That's all I got for you.
Exactly.
I'm on to the next week.
Yeah.
Like stop giving the media something. Like, I mean, don't do you can't get away with the Marshawn Lynch anymore, but can't nobody make you answer a question, and you don't have to have it be standoffish.
Exactly.
That might be something you want to ask the quarterback coach.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, it's just like now, it's just like, I think everybody's concerned with like personal branding, because everybody realizes now that it's just like, oh, I got to make sure that I get myself set up for after football, football, whatever. But the thing is, are we really actually like going out here saying like all these things? Are we really going out here really just trying to get a viral moment? Because the thing is, ultimately, the more you realize that guys are talking, the more that they're saying, the less that you realize they're actually like out here doing. Like, the thing is, even for Pat Mahomes, like, you're not going to get a whole lot out of him in regards to anything. And I mean, I think it's just like some of the other guys that that are most notable, like the people that you tend to get a lot of those sound bites from, tend to get the crazy stuff from. It's just like I love to hear from Keon Coleman and Xavier Leggett, because honestly, it's just like those two. I'm like, I would love to hear those two just have a conversation, because it's just like, oh, what is happening right now?
Facts. Nobody knows what's going on. Right?
But the thing is also, that's just because we know it's entertainment and we know what it is. But the thing is, it's just like, with the way that this team is right now, I feel like there's a lot of talking. And like, once again, I commend Zaire for what he did as far as, sticking up for AR and everything. But the thing is, at some point or another, we've heard a lot more from this organization that just hasn't been computing into success.
And that's where the accountability has to come. And it has to start with the head coach. And each and every week, he says, that's on me. I got to go back and look at the tape. I got to go and do this. But this is on me. I got to prepare the guys better. Here's what I'm saying, Shane Steichen. I am not a head coach, so I have no idea the stress that you're under. But what I'm saying is, you like watching a movie, and you've seen the movie numerous times. You know what's going to happen. You know that 97% zone is going to get you beat because that's what your team has done, and you've seen what the outcome is. So what I'm saying is we have seen a head coach already, Frank Wright, who kind of only focused on the offensive side of the ball. And we've seen where that got him. I need a coach to be so even keel that, hey, I know I didn't have the series that I wanted. I know we didn't get the actions that we needed, and we didn't score points. So now my offense is on this side. They're on they're on the bench now. We just punt it. I'm gonna give them 5 minutes or so, like going over what we're doing, and I'm on the defensive coach now. Hey man, I don't like that. The same way you can check, if somebody call in to play, like, nah, I don't like that one. As a head coach, it's the same way to be like, hey, Gus, fuck no. Absolutely not. I don't like that. There needs to be more of that because you're not holding him accountable. He gets to come speak to the media every Tuesday or every Monday, whenever they do, and you hear the same shit. And there's no reason for that. Like, there's no reason for that. So I don't know what you need to do because, right, you're not just going to make everyone attributes that much better in 1 week of practice. I understand that. But your philosophy for what you're doing is, at this point, it's like you're inept. Like, it's like you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's like, I know that I got 11 people on the field, and I know that I called something. I have no idea what the offense is going to do, and we're probably going to give up yards. Oh, yeah, we did. Okay, call the same, I don't know, play again and give up more yards. Like, that's where we're watching.
And the thing, like, and
come on, man.
I get it. I get it. I like, listen.
Chris, 3rd and 8
I'm
on the
there.
ground twice.
Listen, I know, but this is an organizational issue.
3rd and 8 on the ground twice.
This is an
Come on,
organizational issue.
Come on, fam.
We heard.
Come on.
And the thing is, we heard and we knew that one of the biggest issues of this team outside of secondary was going to be what room?
You talking about tight end?
Yes.
Oh, well, we could play that bite real quick. Hey, can you play Chris Ballard's tight end bit just real quick?
Tight ends. I think we got 6 on the roster, don't we? Or 7. We had 6 or 7. So they're all viable. I mean, they all got a little. Do we have a per se superstar in the group? Probably not. Do we have really good players at the group? Yeah, got a good football team around him where he doesn't necessarily have to carry us.
Man, listen, you take it. I don't
hey, man, we're gonna be quick with this, bro. Look, I was trying to pull up tight end production for the Colts as a whole.
We're last in the league.
Okay, well,
we have the least amount of yards amongst tight ends.
And
that's for the entire room.
Yeah, man. I don't know what's going on with that position. I really don't. And I had that question. I actually asked that question while you guys were doing your interview with Chris. I sent it in because I was like, hey man, like, look. And this is before we knew Jelani was on the shelf for the year? I think it was.
No, that was before, yeah.
And so I'm sitting there thinking, like, hey man, there don't have to be some cuts here, right? Because at that point we're looking at playmakers, the Will Mallory's potentially, the Jelani Woods potentially. Those are playmakers. And you got, your hefty blockers. That's Ogletree. Mo Alley's probably like a mix. And then I guess Granson's supposed to be like your best route run. I don't know. But nothing's happening there. Nothing's happening there. So, like, what I don't want to keep doing is saying what the kid, talking about Anthony, doesn't have, and if he did have, then we would get this. Because in all honesty, I don't even know if that's even true. Because like you said, maybe we do have some bigger structural issues that we need to work out. But I know this. Here's the scary part. There's 5 to go. And we're currently 5-7. And the Texans are about to go up against a very difficult road. They got the Dolphins coming, and the Dolphins look like they're back to playing good football. They got the Ravens, they got the Chiefs, and they still have 2 divisionals. And I don't care what the records say, as you just seen, they lost to the Titans. Divisionals matter. So this is what I'm saying. we could win out. Very well so. I mean, I don't want to look ahead, but we got a winnable game coming Sunday in New England. Then we got a bye. Then we got Denver. And then it's, Titans, Jags. And all of those are winnable. And Chris, if they are, you see the same structural positions that you have now. If we win out and we go to the playoffs, win or lose, I fear no one loses a job, bro. You'll still have the same OC, DC, GM, course owner. And so here's that same hanging. What's the thing to go over a baby's bed?
The carousel,
whatever that's called. Yeah,
we know what it is.
That's still hanging on. Look, we're the fans that are looking up like infants, and we're like, what? Ooh, when I hit this one, then they hit that one. Like, I don't know, man. That's where we are, bro. That's where we are. And so I want us to win out because why not? Right? But at the same token, if we do, then what? That's the question. Yeah, we're running out of time, Chris.
Yeah. So I'll just make this. I'll just make this as quick as I possibly can.
Leave it on that note.
Listen.
The puppet thing.
If we can, if 3 is the magic number for games that we can lose to get Chris Ballard the hell up out of here, I wouldn't mind losing 3. I'm completely because the thing is guess what we're going to do? We go to the playoffs. We end up going into the playoffs. We get boat raced in the first round because we'll probably end up being a 6 or a 7 seed maybe. And then we end up right back in the middle of the draft, going after another player, completely skipping free agency, and then waiting for the next round of undrafted free agents and practice squad guys to supplement this team. We will not be getting any better.
How far are we away? $1 million question. How far
are we away? With Chris Ballard, we're always far away. With Chris Ballard, we will be just good enough to say that we can maybe get to 9-8, miraculously 10-7, just so that we can end up not winning a playoff game, just so that we can magically be at 18 or 19 in the draft, and we will repeat the same cycle of abuse that we have to deal with every single year. If you bring in somebody else who believes in free agency, who believes in the draft, and who believes in structuring going after undrafted free agents and practice squad players for depth, then that means that you're maybe at that point a year away. And I don't even think it would even be that long because honestly, structurally, this team really isn't that bad on one side. But the problem is that defense, and especially if you get rid of Gus Bradley, you're potentially bringing in somebody else who is going to be able to be better and who is a little bit more in tune with what the defense needs to be for the 2024 version of the NFL and not the 2013 version of the NFL back when he inherited the Legion of Boom for 1 year.
But even still, can you utilize the players that we have? And then let's take some guys who were getting tons of credit. And it's not looking so good. Let's look at Ron Carthon. Let Ron cook. He's been cooking, and it ain't smelling good. Let's take the Jets. The Jets sold. They sold, bro. And check them out. He got fired. GM got the boot.
And
so what about that?
I'm gonna and this is gonna pain me to say that Titans defense is one of the top defenses in the league. The only reason why that Titans team isn't more competitive is because they have Will Levis at quarterback.
Okay, well, I mean,
Will Levis threw a pick and immediately started running after the guy with his neck cocked at a 90-degree angle, and he's running like this down the field. Something is fundamentally wrong with his medulla oblongata.
But he was cooking on Sunday.
No, but he just threw that pick 6 on Sunday.
I know, but he was cooking too.
I mean, you're going to be able to cook every now and then. It ain't hard to cook ramen noodles.
All right, look, we're not even gonna talk about the Titans. They won and we lost, and you know what? When that happens, then Sammy gets to laugh at us, and I don't want to be laughed at by Sammy. So here's the deal: we'll get ready to end this. because we went a little bit longer because there's no show because of Turkey Day, and I really don't. I don't even know if I have anything else to talk about this week. What I do know is we should be bookending this. What I'm saying is we have seen the AR situation starting in Houston about a month ago. Get to the bookend, which I would call Detroit, and everything in between. And now we're kind of on that last leg of the season, and we should be able to we just got to get out there and do what we're gonna do. Win or lose, better performances. 24-6, like I said to start the show. You wouldn't think that by the way we played, the way we moved the ball before the penalties, and even with the penalties, we were still. That game never felt like it's over. Every time we came on the field, it's like, yeah, he's gonna score this drive. We'll be right back in, and then we didn't score, and then some other shit. And I'm just like, I just don't get it. And so we just got to get it out of our way. We have no more excuses. Now we go on the road. We got to go to New England, got to go to Denver, and we got to go to New York. I forgot about the Giants. So we got to go back to New York. And then we got 2 at home. So, we're going to have to figure some stuff out. But I say all that to say, this is winnable. And I feel like we can win out. And we're finally getting the bye in 2 weeks. And I feel like that's going to be a helpful thing. And we just got to play it. We just got to see what goes after that, man. But this has been a very rough season. Like the last 4 seasons have been hard. But this one has seemingly just been the worst. Like it's just everyone's fed up now. And we've never had this type of national negativity. Like we haven't had national negativity, maybe ever. Even losing Peyton Manning, maybe even losing Andrew Luck. Like that was a national negativity. Like, yeah, the guy retired and whatever, and the guy moved on and went to another team and had a great year and whatever. Okay, cool. But national negativity, like, oh man, look what kind of locker room issues they had. Look at their quarterback tapping out. And this has just been so Indianapolis Colts not like.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we are, man. So everybody's exhausted.
Extremely.
Let's eat some turkey. And let's
mac and cheese got my spirits high again.
Mac and cheese, dressing, all the good
stuff. All the good
stuff. Let's ensure that we, cherish our family, be thankful, go around the table, say what you're thankful for, what you're grateful for. And there will be football games on. I don't know if they're watchable. Well, I think the Packers and Dolphins should be decent.
Maybe
Packers Detroit and Chicago. Dallas and whoever.
Dallas and the Giants are playing, and it's going to be Cooper Rush versus Tommy DeVito.
Thank you, yeah, that's nasty work. And then you got Black Friday, first ever Raiders and Chiefs. That'll be a blowout. So I don't know if you'll get your feel of great football over the holidays, but let's just give our coach some energy, right? I feel like we got to bring the energy up.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that this is the last time we're going to be negative or down, but we got to bring the energy up. Let's bring the energy up. What's up, Danny boy? Great voice you did over the video. The video was dope. Shout out to Amber. Her video skills are growing each and every week. She killed our last tailgate. Amazing. Shout out to the entire tailgate family. Shout out to the Lions that actually came out and hung out with us. Shout out to the guy that broke our damn hammer, hitting the anvil like in a completely maniacal way. So he didn't break it on impact, but then I hear that a couple bangings of the anvil later, the hammer just snapped because he went bananas with it. So I'm glad that everybody's having a good time at the tailgate. Keep supporting, keep coming out. And last but not least, there was a post that was put on our page where one of our members spoke very deeply about his feelings and how the atmosphere on Sunday made him feel watching, honestly, Lucas Oil be fucking brought to you by the Detroit Lions fan base.
Yes.
I can't speak to the fans, and I don't know how they feel, and they pay their money, and they sell their tickets if they choose to. Hell, I've sold some of mine when I've had to or whatever it may have you. But that place is special. Lucas Oil is a special place, and I've watched this season. It has become the home of whatever team rolls in. When I was just at Bills game, the Mafia was there.
Yeah,
it was their stadium. Now they're saying the Lions the same way. The Steelers, when they were there, it was their stadium. And I don't know how to feel about that. I won't get too carried away about that, but I will always protect my brothers.
All right.
And so for that, I will not be the same Clyde when somebody attacks somebody, because we rarely do that. Like, no, I'm gonna say rarely. We never do that. We post, we say what we feel, but we're never targeting people. And so somebody's gonna come on our page and target somebody on our page in our family. I'm not gonna stand for that. You will be removed. Your comment will be removed. And that's not us just, being sour, but it's like, if we didn't dish something out and you disagree with something, just say you disagree with it. Just say, hey, as a fan, and I'm a person that has tickets, I decided to sell my tickets. Cool. No knocks there, but you won't be calling people, names and telling us to shove it certain places. Absolutely not. So I know that person is probably not going to listen, but if you do listen, you've been warned. That's where I'm at with it. Where can they find you real quick, CJ?
At CJ Colts fan on Twitter. I'm not calling it X.
Yep. And on the X, you can find at Colts Clyde, and of course, Big P Colts or whatever it is.
Worst name ever.
Can be found there too.
Yes.
And until the next one, probably be Tuesday. Remain a Colts fan and all the things. We love you. Happy Turkey Day again. I said Turkey Day.
Happy Turkey.
Happy Turkey Day.
All right, Mike.
Sammy, get us out of here.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast and Bill Show on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.